For TikTok, the end is nigh. Millions of Americans, 170 million to be exact, are on the edge of their seat to find out whether the ban will go into effect on Sunday. Now, the reason is that the Chinese-owned app is alleged to be a threat to national security, but many users, especially teens, aren't waiting for total darkness.
We should have the right to go to all of these apps, and we should have the free speech in America to do this.
When I saw the hashtag TikTok refugee, I was like, oh my gosh, that feels so dramatic and whatever. So like I even put in my bio, I think I put TikTok migrant.
So the app you saw there at the start is called Rednote, and that app is calling itself a home for TikTok refugees. But guess what? That app, along with Lemonade, are also owned by China.
As of Wednesday, Rednote was the top free app on both Apple and Android. Its feed is nearly identical to TikTok's, with an endless scroll of photos and short-form videos.
Independent journalist Taylor Lorenz writes on X, "Follow me on Rednote, the hottest new social app in America."
And Wokeness writes on X, liberals are flocking to Rednote, an app controlled by China, to replace TikTok. Turns out they ban LGBTQ content, all inappropriate outfits, and only to genders. But Rednote also collects the same data as TikTok. So why just ban TikTok? Some people might wonder, why aren't other Chinese apps not a threat to national security? Is this all a very confused thing we're going through?
President-elect Trump, who once endorsed a ban, that is of TikTok, now wants to save the app and has suggested he will issue an executive order to show he means business. Trump invited TikTok head Shou Chew to his inauguration on Monday. So, what's next?
So I am a little bit having mixed feelings on if President Trump were to just unilaterally halt the banning of TikTok. I mean, it was, Congress did approve it, and President Biden signed it, and so I don't want TikTok banned. I oppose this policy. I'm not sure if I think one president should just be... surely Trump can reverse executive orders by Biden, but this was also an order of Congress. So I would think that Congress has to undo it, would be my thinking. So I'm not sure that I agree, but I don't think TikTok should be banned for the obvious reason is there's a bunch of other Chinese apps they're all going to join. Apparently people are logging onto this and like interacting with Chinese people who are like, hello, I am Chinese spy, just to be funny.
I don't know if we can go down the Chinese. I enjoyed your Australian impersonation earlier. I don't know if we can.
It's going to be too offensive to do a Chinese accent.
Getting down the Chinese
right, I'll leave it right there.
Right, is tricky. Look, I think that as a good conservative, I would imagine you would see this as one of the things where change brings unintended and often baleful consequences. Because what indeed is the purpose of banning one app owned, or I shouldn't say owned by the Chinese government,
influeed by the
Chinese government.
The market finds a way.
If
there is a demand for this product, the market will find a way.
And if Taylor Lorenz is joining, you'll be rushing to join up.
My dear friend Taylor Lorenz. So the technical reason, if you want to know why one is banned and one is not, is the structure of the law that was passed by Congress gives certain qualifications for whether you fall under the terms of the ban. And again, it's not technically a ban. It is that the app must be sold to an American company. And so there are these criteria. That was actually what led me to be against this law, is because I thought those criteria were way too broad. Now, there are criteria for how big the platform is itself, how many users it has, how much money it has, what percent, I don't remember exactly, what percentage of this and that. But there's also word phrasing has to do with how much is foreign controlled that made me very nervous, because they were saying that, I mean, they, being the mainstream media, were saying that Facebook was foreign directed because of how many Russian bots there were on the platform. There actually weren't that many, but just the panic from mainstream people on how controlled, remember all the narrative, controlled by Russia, controlled by this and that. I'm like, well, this could be used to go after X and Facebook. So I thought that was not... I was worried about giving a national security justification to Congress to just punish dissident speech on platforms.
Yeah, I think we both have mixed feelings and are basically against a TikTok ban. Now, I come from it from a related but slightly different perspective than you, which is that I just kind of feel it is being singled out for in reasons that I'm not entirely persuaded of.
And were reasons they won't tell you about.
Right,
Right. This
exactly.
is all secret. They briefed Congress and won't tell you.
Right.
Gorsuch raised this point in the hearing before the Supreme Court. He's like, well, you're expecting people to defend something, and you're saying this is a problem, but you won't show anybody the evidence.
Right. And in related to that, I mean, TikTok claims that they have 170 million American users. I think beyond the principles and theories as to why it should or shouldn't be banned, the practical possibility or idea of banning something that 170 million people in the country use, like that is obviously not going to be easy to do. Yes, you can ban people, the app stores making it available, and you can ban updates, but then where do all those people go? The idea that people do not try to find some workaround seems fanciful, and from what we're seeing, the workaround is just to join other Chinese apps, and then do you go around trying to, play whack-a-mole with various different apps?
Right. Does Elon Musk end up buying it, and then you get
Probably.
monopoly consolidation of the social media apps, which is what
My
progressives
nightmare
are against.
scenario. I would want ByteDance to keep control of it just to avoid that scenario.
But yeah, to your point about how many people use it, this is something Rand Paul mentioned when he came out against this action and spoke against it on the Senate floor. Is like, yeah, 170 million users. This is a pretty aggressive intervention into the marketplace, into private behavior. This is so popular among young people. We're old fogies in Congress who poorly understand. This comes across so clearly every time they question Shou Chu or Mark Zuckerberg or whoever it is before Congress, that the actual people doing the regulation do not understand. It's, your grandparents. We love our grandparents and our great-grandparents.
Absolutely.
They
Not
are
tech
often the
experts.
first people to admit that they should not be in charge of tech policy. I mean, I'm 36. I'm too old to understand exactly how TikTok. TikTok is not my preferred social media app. I'm not very active on it because I'm obviously there are people older than me who use it, but
Like
it's
me,
just not.
for example.
Are you active
I
on
am on.
TikTok?
What is going to happen to my 700
no.
followers or whatever modest number I have if it's all bad?
Maybe I'm not as smart as other people. I use Instagram a lot. You can follow me on Instagram. I use Twitter a lot. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't have space in my brain for like another social
Well,
media
I've
platform.
never been
I'm
on
maxed
Instagram
out.
for that reason. I don't know. Instagram just doesn't agree with me. But you can find me on X and Facebook if you feel inclined, and TikTok up until Sunday. And then it'll all maybe banned.
So we're gonna have to find out what people are doing once they leave TikTok. They're going to these other sites.
Right.
Maybe they will be using. Instagram is somewhat similar. There's Snapchat, which I don't really has the exact functionality. Although I do have a Snap account, and people can share videos and decide how many people are seeing them. But I think that's more. Just for people I want to see it, where TikTok is for anyone could happen across this if the algorithm is directing them to it.
Right. So
And it'll be an effect on businesses that use that to generate publicity and revenue. So it will be a significant thing that will happen this weekend unless there's some last-minute business intervention, which I think could happen. The Supreme Court they're not going to take action over the weekend, I don't think. They're just waiting. I don't know, they're running out the clock there. Or we'll see if Donald Trump makes some order concerning it. It could happen. Next up, the FDA is adopting a ban on red dye number 3. Would you be surprised to learn RFK Jr. has actually been pushing for that for years? We'll discuss it coming up next.